Flair is in street clothes because he heard it was a street fight. Now, it's worth noting that Ric Flair is wearing the nicest polo shirt I've ever seen and slacks.
And dress shoes.
Austin says that he hears cats have 9 lives, so he's going to beat the shit out of all 9 of Miller's. Then Bam Bam Bigelow interrupts and Awesome attacked him.
And he's like, who the hell are you talking to like that? And then Awesome's like, hey, take it easy. And then he attacks him from behind and gets the better of Bam Bam. And then while he's on the ground, it's like, I was talking to you.
Yeah. Steiner gouges the wall's eyes, then uses the ref as a shield. So when the wall recovers, the ref ends up getting chokeslammed through the table. Then another ref comes out and immediately disqualifies the wall for having his eyes gouged out, even though Mancow just used the ref as a shield.
And they're just talking about how it's going to be lax rules because of what Eric Bischoff
Booker got
said.
most of the offense, hit his axe kick for a near fall. He did the spinaroonie, and I think this is the first time I've heard them address it as a spinaroonie, which amazed me because I thought that was a JR thing.
Yeah, it's definitely my first time
And
hearing
Smiley
it,
escapes into the kitchen through this little opening that the lunch trays are shoved out of. So Funk follows, of course, even though there's a perfectly good door mere inches away. And he's about to get his hands on Bischoff, but cops just swarm into the room. There's a scuffle, and then the cops end up throwing Hogan onto a chair and drawing their weapons on him. And somehow, Hogan didn't want to fight after that.
Yeah, he got serious then. He's like, whoa.
Moving on, we have our Wrestling Rewind. And this week is WCW Spring Stampede 2000, coming from the Windy City, Chicago, Illinois. We have a opening hype video. Vince Russo and Eric Bischoff are standing in the ring with a bunch of people. Vince is talking about Ric Flair. Says Flair is a piece of shit on the bottom of his shoe. He's going to scrape off that shit and personally flush Flair down the toilet. Vince Russo is apparently a badass. He assaulted Flair and stole the Nature Boy's watch, calling himself the Batman. Get it? Because he has a bat. Eric Bischoff has aligned with Russo. At this point, I think they're called the New Blood or something equally gay. Bischoff turned on Hogan, helping Billy Kidman beat the Hulkster. Probably one of the blackest marks on his career. Then we have Bischoff saying that Hogan was the biggest mistake of his career. And Hogan vowed to eat Bischoff's ass before his limo was T-boned by a white Hummer. Just like Kevin Nash. I think Billy Kidman was driving it or something.
I didn't catch it.
So it opens with Eric Bischoff in the back. Apparently Hogan has checked himself out of the hospital, and that has Eric worried. Bischoff tells Kidman to stop looking at Torrie Wilson's tits and help him come up with a plan. Kidman just says, well, why don't we run him over with the Hummer again? And this makes Bischoff even more worried. And then commentary tells us that there's no champions as of the start of the pay-per-view, but we're going to get all new ones by the end of the show. And the commentary team this evening is Scott Hudson, Tony Schiavone, and Mark Madden. Possibly the worst commentary lineup ever thought of. Schiavone talks about all the titles being up for grabs. Hudson says Bischoff and Russo have stacked the deck in favor of the New Blood. And the opposing team is the Millionaires Club. Rolls off the tongue. Bischoff and Russo also told the referees not to worry about the rules tonight. So to start the pay-per-view, we have the Mamalukes versus Team Package, which is the team of Lex Luger and Ric Flair. This is part of the tag team title tournament. Lex Luger and Ric Flair are randomly interviewed during the Mamalukes entrance. Flair is in street clothes because he heard it was a street fight. Now, it's worth noting that Ric Flair is wearing the nicest polo shirt I've ever seen and slacks.
And dress shoes.
After Flair and Luger make their entrances, Russo interrupts and says it's uneven. So he calls out the Harris brothers to make it a 4-on-2 match. And it starts off with Flair and Luger getting fucked up. Then they fight back. Flair gets the Mamaluke, who isn't Big Vito, in a figure 4, then inexplicably releases the hold. So after the big brawl, everyone gets to their respective corners so it can be a proper tag match. And Flair gets his ass kicked by everybody, and they won't let Luger get tagged in. Disco Inferno attacked Luger ringside. Then he got decked by Miss Elizabeth. Then 2 random guys just come out and take Disco away. And we never see Disco again. The Mamalukes and the Harris brothers just start fighting for absolutely no reason. This allowed Flair to tag in Luger. Luger fucks everybody up. Flair continues to get his ass kicked to ringside. And then Team Package won after the Mamaluke, who isn't Big Vito, got put in the torture rack. which is still one of the most protected finishes.
Sure is.
And afterwards, Russo yelled at the Harris brothers and Mama Luke's for losing.
Yep. So team package moves on in this tournament.
Well, then we have Mean Gene interviewing Mike Awesome. Awesome is in the tournament for the U.S. title, and he's facing Ernest the Cat Miller. Awesome says that he hears cats have 9 lives, so he's going to beat the shit out of all 9 of Miller's. Then Bam Bam Bigelow interrupts, and Awesome attacked him.
I do like in this little thing, Bam Bam said something and Awesome said something back, and he was like, "Who the hell are you talking to like that?" And then Awesome's like, "Hey, take it easy." And then he attacks him from behind and gets the better of Bam Bam. And then while he's on the ground, it's like, "You, I was talking to you."
Yeah. We have a Jimmy Hart Man Cow hype video. Now, Man Cow is or was a radio disc jockey for the city of Chicago. It's kind of like a poor man's Howard Stern. They even said he was a wannabe Howard Stern. And apparently Hart visited Man Cow's show, and Man Cow said Hulk Hogan can do better than Jimmy Hart as his manager. So Hart attacked Man Cow, and therefore Man Cow challenged him to a match at Spring Stampede. So unfortunately, that leads us to Jimmy Hart versus Man Cow. And before the match, Hart gets on the mic and says after the match, he's still going to be the greatest manager in the world, and Man Cow is just going to be another Howard Stern wannabe. So Hart came out with some muscular dude. Man Cow came out with some hose. He was trying to dress like the American badass. He also had a discount job squad with him. So the match starts. Man Cow and Hart fight like girls. Then Hart goes for a high-risk maneuver, but Man Cow pulls the ref over top of him. And Hart's guy gets involved, tosses Man Cow out of the ring and onto his people. And then Man Cow's thrown back in the ring. Hart goes to revive the ref. And he also sent his muscular guy away for no reason. So Man Cow's handed a chair, uses it on Hart, and gets an awkward pin. A really awkward pin.
It's like he didn't even know he was pinning him. He was always trying to mount him for like a ground and pound type situation.
For a missionary.
And then, yeah, the ref counted 3.
Billy Kidman came out and fucked up Jimmy Hart. And I guess that was a warning to Hulk Hogan. So up next we have The Wall versus Scott Steiner. This is a U.S. heavyweight title tournament. Scott Steiner is using the Steiner Brothers music. I don't know if they're back together, if he's trolling, or what's going on with that.
I took it as more as like, well, he's not NWO anymore. So just go back to his old music. Because he was using the NWO music, but I don't think he ever jumped to like the siren music thing. So I think they just went back to his non-NWO music.
Did he use the sirens in WCW?
See, that's what I'm saying. I don't know where he used that at.
Okay. I know he used it in WWE.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just what I took it as. It's just he was using his non-NWO music.
Okay. So they fight. Nothing really happens. Then the Wall sets up a table ringside and tries to chokeslam Steiner through it. Steiner gouges the Wall's eyes, then uses the ref as a shield. So when the Wall recovers, the ref ends up getting chokeslammed through the table because, the Wall can't see. Then another ref comes out and immediately disqualifies the Wall for having his eyes gouged out, even though Man Cow just used the ref as a shield.
And they're just talking about how it's going to be lax rules.
Yes.
Because of what Eric Bischoff said.
But the right guy won. Also, the Wall doesn't look like a businessman anymore. He kind of looks more wrestler.
Yeah, no suit. He was wearing a tank top. And yeah, he's just turning into a wrestler now.
Mean Gene then interviewed Ernest the Cat Miller. Bam Bam Bigelow immediately took him out after Miller thought he was fighting James Brown or something. I don't know what the fuck he was talking about. So that leads us to Mike Awesome versus Bam Bam Bigelow. And again, this is the U.S. heavyweight title tournament. So Bigelow attacked Awesome during his entrance. The ref just shrugs, rings the bell, so they fight. Awesome does a bunch of high-flying moves that are unbecoming of a man his size. Then they fight ringside out to the crowd. Awesome told the crowd to move just before Bam Bam charged him at the guardrail. And it looks like Awesome is in complete control. Then Bam Bam reverses a belly-to-back suplex. And then Bam Bam signals for greetings from Ashbury Park. But Ernest the Cat Miller comes out and takes out Bam Bam with his karate. And the ref just shrugs his shoulders and lets it all happen, despite there being a DQ in the match we just saw before this. So Miller gets on the mic, says he's going to put on a dance show. Then, sure enough, he plays music and dances. And then naturally, Mike Awesome recovered, took out Miller, wins with a frog splash. And the ref just shrugged his shoulders and, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah. They were really getting over the whole Mike Awesome being a heavyweight moving like a cruiserweight thing.
Yeah.
How could a man that size do that? They kept doing all that.
I mean, he was pretty good.
He was. And this was after ECW because when him and Bam Bam started wrestling, the crowd was chanting ECW. So
Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo are backstage because Russo hasn't been televised enough yet. Eric's worried about Hulk Hogan coming to the arena, fucking shit up. Billy Kidman's still there, staring at Tori Wilson's tits. And he says he's scared off Hogan by beating the shit out of Jimmy Hart. And Bischoff's like, well, if Hogan wasn't coming then, he sure as hell will come now to get revenge for his buddy. And then Russo contributed absolutely nothing. He just sat on a couch and watched. We have Mean Gene interviewing Buff Bagwell and Shane Douglas, which I'm surprised to see Douglas still employed at this point. He also didn't have a cast on.
Yeah, it seems like he was going to be a forever cast person.
Right? Bagwell and Douglas are facing Harlem Heat. Bagwell says tonight is all about the new blood. And Douglas says Space Mountain is officially closed tonight. So we have Harlem Heat versus Buff Bagwell and Shane Douglas for the tag team title tournament. Buff and Douglas are confident because Russo's backing them. But Russo's also backing Harlem Heat. So this matchup makes complete sense to me. So I don't think I've ever seen a fat fuck with a six-pack before, but Ahmed Johnson accomplished that somehow.
It looked like he's getting back into shape. Like that was different than what he was last pay-per-view, even though he kept his shirt on last pay-per-view.
Okay. Bagwell starts the match, gets his ass kicked. Douglas gets tagged in and single-handedly takes on Stevie Ray and Ahmed Johnson. And then Bagwell continues to get his ass kicked ringside by Harlem Heat's boy. And then Douglas won with a perfect plex. Kicked Ahmed in the balls, and I guess that was enough for him. Stevie got hit with a perfect plex, and yeah. Stevie Ray and Ahmed understandably got pissed off at each other after the match for losing to Shane Douglas and Buff Bagwell. Like, we're supposed to be a fucking tag team. What the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
Mean Gene then interviewed Booker. Booker is wrestling Sting, and he is also part of the New Blood. Or he tried to play up being a babyface while being part of the heel team, which was kind of weird.
Yeah, he's going to be the first defect I see because he's baby facing it up.
Yeah, well, that's when he turns into G.I. Bro, so good for him. So yeah, Booker versus Sting. This is for the U.S. title tournament. And I like how it started as a traditional wrestling match, then devolved into a fight. They even spilled to the floor. They were so pissed off at each other.
Mm-hmm.
And Booker got most of the offense, hit his axe kick for a near fall. He did the spin-a-rooney, and I think this is the first time I've heard them address it as a spin-a-rooney, which amazed me because I thought that was a JR thing.
Yeah, it's definitely my first time hearing it too.
And Booker goes for a Harlem sidekick. Sting dodged it, hits a DDT, and Sting starts spamming Stinger splashes. And Booker, of course, caught him with a Harlem sidekick on the second one. Sting recovered, though, goes for a suplex that Booker reversed. And he tries his own suplex, but Sting reverses that. And he gets a Scorpion Death Drop and wins the match. It was kind of funny because I saw Booker reverse the suplex. I go, I bet Sting's going to reverse the suplex and hold on to his head. Sure enough. So Booker gets pissed, tells Sting to get back in the fucking ring so they can fist bump as a show of respect. They even locked foreheads. It was so unnecessary for a fist bump.
And then, yes, it's that right there that's going to cause Booker T to be out of the New Blood. Although, why is Scott Steiner in the New Blood? Because he's definitely not New Blood.
Why are any of these motherfuckers in the New Blood?
Well, this is what I gather from the pay-per-view. This young up-and-coming talent who hasn't been getting chances, like when Vince Russo talked about Booker T not getting a chance. And I guess Jeff Jarrett.
Even though he's been around forever.
Yeah, he's been around. Scott Steiner's been around. It's like, why is he in there? Like, I get Jeff Jarrett I mean, I got Booker T because he talked about him specifically.
I still wouldn't call him new blood.
I guess new blood in the fact that him being a singles guy.
After that, Mean Gene interviewed Billy Kidman and Eric Bischoff. Bischoff is still scared that Hogan's coming to kick his ass, and Kidman says, "Don't worry about it. I'll just kick Hogan's ass instead." So he's pretty confident. We have Vampiro versus Billy Kidman after that for the U.S. title tournament. Apparently, these guys are new blood too, both of them. So again, smart booking. This was a pretty hard-hitting match. Vampiro was like all over him. Vampiro's tossing Kidman around. He hits a powerbomb and a rock bottom. Kidman reversed 2 powerbomb attempts with face busters. They fight outside the ring for a little bit. Then during the match, we cut to the back and a Dodge Charger arrives. Wonder who it could be. Oh, it's Hulk Hogan, and he's heading right to the ring. It was kind of funny too because he's going to the ring and he stops. He goes, "Where's Kidman?" And they all just like point to where he was heading to begin with. You know. So Hogan comes out, hits the ring, and Kidman jumps him. And Hogan shrugs off Kidman's useless sissy attacks and tosses him out of the ring by the throat. And he kicks Kidman's ass, tries to murder him with steel steps. Like he set him up by the ring post and just threw steps at him. Hogan then sets up the steps by the announce desk and does a 2-handed choke slam, but the desk didn't break, so Hogan had to walk around, pick Kidman up, and slam him through it. Hogan then picks Kidman up, throws him in the ring, and tells Vampiro to pin him. Even though the ref was watching Hogan fuck up Kidman the entire time, he did not care. So why do they hate the wall?
I don't know. But why wasn't this a disqualification either?
Exactly.
Yeah, he was right
he
there.
Threw Kidman through a table.
Yeah.
So Hogan gets on the mic, tells Bischoff he's next, and then it cuts to the back, and Bischoff is shitting himself. And Bischoff wants to leave, but Russo stops him, says he'll take care of it. Bischoff shits himself even more because he's all alone now. And it cuts to Hogan. He tells no one not to touch his car or he'll kick their asses too. No one was standing there. He's like, "Don't touch my car. I'll kick your ass too." So he knocks over a table for no reason. Then he starts looking behind each door he can find. And then finally he finds Bischoff, who screams like a bitch. And he's about to get his hands on Bischoff, but cops just swarm into the room with Russo as well. There's a scuffle, and then the cops end up throwing Hogan onto a chair and drawing their weapons on him. And somehow, Hogan didn't want to fight after that.
Yeah, he got serious then. He's like, whoa. And there's a little bit of history here. This is like one of 3 times that an actual gun was pulled on somebody. The other 2 times, one was Brian Pillman, the home invasion. Was it Stone Cold that broke into his house?
Stone Cold broke into the house, but I don't think it showed him pulling the gun on Stone Cold. I think we heard Stone Cold breaking into the house, and then Pillman just had it.
Yeah, I think it flashed it for like a second or so.
Yeah.
There was that, and then there was Stone Cold when he had Vince McMahon in the wheelchair and he had the gun, but then it ended up being one of those guns that just
the bang
said
flag
bang on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was so great. I remember being like on the edge of my seat through that whole episode. And he finally got him. I'm like, oh, he's going to kill Vince. And then, yeah, they did the bang. And he pissed himself.
Notably so. And then this time, it was funny because, yeah, they pulled the gun, or at least the feed I was watching, they pulled the guns out, and then it just like randomly cuts to like a wide shot of the arena, and then it goes back, and then Hogan's in handcuffs.
That sounds about right. Yeah, I remember him falling on the chair, and then like they all have their guns out, and he's like, "Oh, I'm done fighting, brothers."
Yeah, he's like, "Whoa," but then yeah, it immediately cuts to the arena.
Yeah,
just wide shot for like seconds.
And then it cuts back, and he's in handcuffs, and they're still talking shit. So Hogan's taken away by the cops. Then Terry Taylor makes a rare appearance. And then Terry Funk pulls up on him, and you can't hear a goddamn word they say because Eric Bischoff's mic is still on. He's breathing like he's alone with a bottle of Jergens. Turns out that Terry Funk is calmly looking for Norman Smiley. Funk walks into the catering area, and he's like, "Hey, where's Norman Smiley?" And like everybody just pointed to where Norman Smiley was.
Yeah, they pointed back to the restroom.
I just thought it was funny that everybody told on him.
Yeah.
So Funk finds Smiley in the bathroom and begins to fuck him up. And this turns out to be Terry Funk versus Norman Smiley. This is for the vacant hardcore title. So Funk is kicking Norman's ass and throwing him into shit in the catering area. And then Funk throws Smiley into a drink cooler and opens the door and starts just dumping soda cans on him, which I thought was funny. And Smiley escapes into the kitchen through this little opening that the lunch trays are shoved out of. So Funk follows, of course, even though there's a perfectly good door mere inches
Right
away. Yeah. Smiley uses that advantage to start kicking Funk's ass now, and then they start fighting through some hallway, and Smiley grabs a can of soda, opens it, and then smashes it over Funk's head. Funk then clobbers Smiley with a laptop. Smiley inexplicably climbs a ladder, then climbs on the pipes on the ceiling. Funk takes the ladder from Smiley, sets up a table underneath him, and then starts beating him with a chair until he falls from the ceiling through the table. Then they fight their way back to the ring. Smiley has a chair and starts pummeling Funk with it. Then he just starts dancing. And then Funk gets the chair and fucks Smiley up with it. And then Goldust comes out and starts fucking up Terry Funk. Pile drives him onto a chair. But Goldust sucks. And Funk easily recovers and takes out Goldust. He dumps Norman out of the ring, drops the ladder on him, and gets the pin.
And by drops the ladder, he's meaning from the inside the ring, he just holds the ladder up and then just drops it to Norman Smiley, who's laying on the ground on the outside of the ring.
Yes. I just thought it was interesting that Goldust pile drived Funk on a chair. And you can even see like Funk's arm twitching from like
Yeah,
the
he
nerve
was selling
damage.
it.
Yeah. Then he recovered and won the match. It was what it was. So we have Vince Russo and Booker in the back. Russo's pissed off at him for showing Sting respect. He tells Booker to stop pissing Eric Bischoff off, and he's going to keep the handshake he had with Sting a secret if he follows him right now. So Booker decides to follow Vince. I wonder what he's going to have Booker do.
We shall see.
So up next is Mike Awesome versus Scott Steiner. It's for the U.S. title tournament. It looked like it was going to be a squash match in favor of Steiner at first, but Awesome started fighting back. Steiner even had to resort to kicking Mike Awesome in the balls. Then he did an amazing belly-to-belly suplex. He grabbed Awesome, and these are two big dudes, but he lifted Awesome up, and it looked like he wasn't going to quite get him. But then he just like effortlessly slammed him to the mat. It was really great. So Awesome starts fighting back, doing his high-risk shit. He goes to the top rope. I think he's going to go for the frog splash, but the crowd stands up, looks toward the entrance ramp, and it cuts to Kevin Nash running with a crutch, and he breaks it over Awesome. So Steiner gets Awesome in the Steiner recliner, and Awesome then reluctantly submitted. I guess Mike Awesome may have attacked Kevin Nash at some point.
At some point, they showed it in the video package that on his arrival, Awesome attacked Kevin Nash, who was on crutches for whatever reason. And that's how he debuted, was beating Nash with the crutch.
Okay. We cut to the back again with Vince Russo, and he's pissed off at Goldust for sucking and fires him. He also said, "I made Goldust."
Yep. Not running from that either. The fact that he used to be Goldust and he made Goldust.
I'm just surprised they mentioned that on WCW.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They weren't running from it.
They should have. They could have gotten sued. Up next, we have Vampiro versus Sting, a U.S. title tournament. This was actually a really good match. Sting hit the ring hot. Vampiro cut him off. They traded offense back and forth. And Vampiro looked every bit as legit as Sting. And I actually thought Vampiro was going to pull it off. That was until Sting countered a high-risk move from Vampiro into a powerbomb. And then he just picks Vampiro up and hits a Scorpion Death Drop. Very anticlimactic. And as an extra fuck you, he makes Vampiro tap to the sharpshooter.
Yeah.
After that, we have Mean Gene interviewing Diamond Dallas Page and Kimberly. DDP got a haircut, but still has his dumbass catchphrase. So,
Bada bing, bada boom, bada bang.
And DDP wants to kick Jeff Jarrett's ass because he took Kimberly out with a guitar. And he promises that Kimberly will get her payback tonight. Then 3 Count comes out to the ring. Well, only 2 of them could make it. And they start dancing and lip syncing, worse than Ashley Simpson. And they start to do an encore, but a bunch of guys come out to kick their asses. And this turns into a 6-way match for the vacant Cruiserweight title. The contestants were Shannon Moore, Lash LaRue, David Flair's guy, Juventud Guerrera, The Prince, and then Chris Candido. And I'll be honest with you, I started skipping this because of Daphne screaming, and I continued skipping when they all did the spot where everybody took turns jumping on each other. But through all that, I saw that David Flair made an appearance, and then Sonny fucked up Prince Iaukei's top rope move, so he got slammed onto a chair, and then Candido got the pin.
Yes. Sunny made her debut in WCW.
Yep.
For a second there, I didn't think it was Sunny because they were shooting her from behind, obviously, but they wouldn't show her face. But they kept saying it's Sunny, it's Sunny. I'm like, why are they not showing her face? Is it not her? Is it someone just playing her? But no, they actually showed her face, and it was her.
Well, then Sonny and Sharmell got into it after the match, and they were separated. So they each turned and grabbed the guy that was separating them by the balls, and then they started rolling around on the mat again.
Cat fight! Cat fight! That's really what that was all about.
Yes. I think they even said it.
Oh, they did. For what it was worth, they also said it when Jimmy Hart and Howard Stern.
I thought they did, yeah.
Yeah, when they initially started brawling, cat fight!
After that, Mean Gene interviewed Jeff Jarrett, and Jarrett just said he's winning the World Heavyweight title. He didn't say anything special. After that, we had Team Package versus Buff Bagwell and Shane Douglas, and this is for the vacant tag team titles. And Flair was still dressed like he was just golfing before he came to the ring. And Shane Douglas came out with Russo, because Russo hasn't been involved in this pay-per-view enough. Russo gets on commentary and guarantees Bagwell and Douglas are winning the match. So there's that. The real story of this match was Shane Douglas and Ric Flair. See, Douglas has been shit-talking Flair for years, especially in ECW, basically begging him to come fight. So it was nice to see them like actually in a match together. I wish it was a singles match, but what can you do? Flair got his ass kicked for most of the match. Luger got the hot tag, started running wild. Russo bailed on commentary and goes ringside. And then Douglas holds Flair so Buff can hit him with the blockbuster. Flair sidestepped and Douglas gets nailed instead. There's a pin attempt. Russo pulls the ref out of the ring. Russo and the ref get into it, and it cuts back to the ring. And Brian Clark and Brian Adams hit the ring and take out Luger. Bagwell goes for the pin. It cuts back to the floor, and I guess Russo kicked the ref's ass because he's still in the ref's shirt. And he hits the ring, counts the pin. Douglas and Bagwell are the new tag champions.
2-0 for the New Blood.
Yeah, they got the titles. What about the hardcore title? They didn't get that.
Yeah, I don't know if Terry Funk was New Blood.
After that, Mean Gene interviewed Scott Steiner. Steiner says his one arm is larger than both of Sting's put together. So then Mean Gene interviewed Sting, and Sting says it's war, and it's also showtime.
Showtime, folks.
That, of course, leads us to Scott Steiner versus Sting. This is for the vacant U.S. title. I'll be honest, this is a nothing match. It seemed like Steiner was more interested in fighting with fans than fighting Sting. Sting eventually got Steiner with the Stinger Splash. He goes for a second one. Steiner pulls the ref in the way. So Stinger says, I'm just going to keep doing Stinger Splashes until the ref wakes up. So he does that. Then Vampiro pops up through the ring, and he pulls Sting down a hole. And after a while, Vampiro pops back up. Sting's bleeding profusely through his mouth. And Steiner wakes up the ref, locks Sting in the Steiner recliner, and he becomes the new U.S. champion. It's worth noting that Steiner spit on Sting and told everybody in the crowd to go fuck themselves.
Yeah. And we're now 3 New Blood members with titles.
So we get a hype video. Jeff Jarrett introduces Vince Russo as The Power. Russo strips everyone of their titles, and I guess Jarrett gets a title shot automatically while Diamond Dallas Page had to go through Lex Luger and Sting. And then Jarrett hits Kimberly with a guitar. That pisses DDP off, of course. So we have Jeff Jarrett versus DDP for the vacant World Heavyweight title as their main event. And it started off hard hitting. Kimberly got her payback by way of a slap. DDP and Jarrett start fighting through the crowd. Jarrett basically gets his ass kicked, so He grabs a chair and starts wailing on Paige, and he shoves the ref until the ref finally grabs the chair away from Jarrett. And Paige almost wins with a sit-down powerbomb, but then Eric Bischoff appears at the entrance ramp, just watching with his hands in his pockets. And DDP goes for a diamond cutter. Jarrett blocked it and also incidentally grazed the referee, who sold it like he was just punched in the face by a man 3 times his size. And then Jarrett uses the title belt on Paige behind the ref's back, which makes no sense because he was blatantly using the chair the entire match. Jarrett then gets DDP in the figure 4. Bischoff starts slowly walking to the ring with his stupid hands in his pockets. And then Kimberly grabs Jarrett's guitar. So there's a long-ass figure 4 spot, some near falls, then a long-ass sleeper hold spot. And then DDP gets out of the sleeper hold. Bischoff gets on the apron, starts fighting with the ref. And then Paige hits the diamond cutter and invites Kimberly in with the guitar. Kimberly, of course, milks it for all she's worth. Looks like she's going to hit Jarrett while DDP holds him up. But then, of course, she turns on her husband. And Jarrett gets the pin, and he becomes the new World Heavyweight title holder. Bischoff, Kimberly, and Russo hug in the middle of the ring. They're probably going to slam her tonight. Douglas and Bagwell lift Jarrett on their shoulders because we're supposed to believe that Jarrett's a big star now.
And this completes, I guess, the clean sweep for the new blood.
Yes.
All the titles. I will say it was an interesting pay-per-view. When you ran it down on paper, it sounded like it was going to be pretty bad.
It sounded like the worst pay-per-view ever.
Yeah, but I will say it turned out to be pretty good. I like the one night tournament concept. Of all the tournaments, though, probably the U.S. title was my favorite one of them. Well, I guess it's not much to really go off of there because the only other one was the tag team one.
Right.
Because the cruiserweight and the world title were just one match, and the hardcore was just one match. But yeah, I like the matchups that were in the U.S. title thing. So yeah, it turned out to be pretty enjoyable for me.
I got sick of Vince Russo.
I hear.
He's all over the place. Why does he have to be in every segment?
Because he's trying to be Vince McMahon.
Well, he's not. Vince McMahon was at least entertaining.
That's fair.
But yeah, WCW Spring Stampede 2000. Our next WCW pay-per-view is Slamboree 2000. The main event was Jeff Jarrett versus David Arquette and Diamond Dallas Page in a triple cage match.
Oh boy.
For the World Heavyweight title.
Oh boy.
But before that, we have ECW Anarchy Rules 99. This was the first Anarchy Rules professional wrestling pay-per-view event produced by ECW and took place in Villa Park, Illinois. And the main event was Rob Van Dam versus Balls Mahoney for the World Television Championship. We also had Tommy Dreamer and Raven versus Rhino and Steve Corino for the tag team titles. Mike Awesome faced Masato Tanaka and Taz for the heavyweight title. We have Just Incredible versus Sabu for no titles.
Boy, Mike Awesome got shot up to the top, didn't he?
He sure did.
He wasn't even here last pay-per-view, and now he's already getting title matches.
Yep. Well, that Tanaka dude, too.
Yeah. We
also have Lance Storm versus Jerry Lynn, which should be an awesome match. Probably the match of the night. I'm looking forward to Credible and Sabu.
Yeah, there's going to be some good ones. And then Balls Mahoney's in the main event, so.
Yeah.
Seems like they balanced it out there.
I don't know.
Although, I've actually never seen him in a singles match, so maybe there's some interest there. Really, my only exposure to him has been tag team match and a hardcore tag team match at that.
Wasn't Balls Mahoney in a singles match while Ian Rotten had internal bleeding or some shit?
Against Bubba?
Maybe.
I don't know. Oh, yeah, maybe. No, he teamed with Spike Dudley, didn't he? Or
I can't
he
remember.
At least came out for the help or something.
That's probably true. I could have sworn they came out and then turns out that Rotten has internal injuries. He can't do anything but just watch Balls Mahoney get his ass kicked. I don't know. But Balls Mahoney or David Arquette, who's the better main event?
Well, I guess it's Balls Mahoney just because he's an actual wrestler,
Fair. And we're going to be here for both of them.
unfortunately.
But that is our Wrestling Rewind.
Good stuff. Good stuff.